let's see if this works. So this is a new prototype of a pedal I designed called the Gemini. Someone bought the first prototype, and then a friend of his got in touch with me and said, "Hey, my friend has this pedal that you made called the Gemini. I want one. Will you build me one?" And I said, "Sure." It's something that's an ongoing design, and it's related to another design called the Xtal of mine, as well as my high frequency booster, the High Freak, which is kind of the prototype or the preamp in the Gemini. But anyway, what is it? It is a very intensely clangy frequency doubler effect. It's, like similar to something like a green, the Diamond Green Ringer. It creates all these weird sidebands, along with trying to double the frequency of the signal going into it. What I wanted from it was I wanted it to transform your guitar sound into something else. Something that sounds like a completely different kind of stringed instrument. More like Eastern string instruments that have, sympathetic strings and just strange, Jawari bridges that buzz straight, I wanted something that not so much fills the role of traditional frequency doublers or octave up effects. I wanted something, like I said, that really just did something very unique to the input signal, and it worked out. It can sound a multitude of different ways. You can just get these great little like bell chimey sounds out of it, or you can get this like sounds like glass, a plate full of glasses being thrown down the steps. Just all kinds of very like sounds that seem like there's like reverb or some kind of an acoustic effect to them because of how the input signal is chopped up into different parts and then put together, so it's very multi-dimensional thing going on. I know I already did a demo of this, I think just with the breadboard, but I wanted to show you what I ended up with the breadboard, the breadboard circuit. I'm still thinking about other controls and whatnot, but I'm pretty happy with this. So you have a drive control. This is just a control at the front of the circuit to determine just how hard your input signal hits the input of the circuit. The harder it hits, the more it kind of distorts, the more there's this very strange, unique, dynamic response to your playing. It's hard to explain, but like it's very like you pluck lightly and it has one sound. You pluck really hard and it's very like punchy. So watch your ears, okay? Because this thing can get loud without me even turning it up just by playing a certain way. So just be careful with your speakers. So anyway, so there's the drive control. This is a filter control. It's a low pass filter. It's on the output of the circuit, so it takes the complex signal coming out of the circuit and removes a certain amount of the high frequencies, and that kind of pulls out certain sounds. And it also helps, if this thing can get really ear piercing, and like I said, just so it's allows you to kind of dial some of that back and get a balance that you want. This toggle switch, this wasn't on the original prototype, but what it is it alters. It's sort of a boost switch for the preamp that's in here, but more than just a boost, it's boosting the frequencies of the circuit. Every time I try to explain how this control works, I have on other things I've been working on. I get lost. It allows you to boost just certain frequencies it doesn't just boost everything. It's like a high pass filter and a boost switch at the same time, so it only boosts frequencies above a certain frequency. And each position 1 is the highest, position 2 down is the next highest, and it's really something you need to just hear. It just gives your signal more weight and thickness, as you'll see, and punch too. And of course, because it does affect the gain, it gives you more distortion and whatnot. And then we have the output knob, just simple. This thing can really put out a lot of gain depending on how you have the input, depending on how you have all the controls set, because they all have some effect on the volume, the output level of the circuit. So anyway, I'm going to show you what it can do. You can hear when I play on the unwound strings, it gives this very distinct multi-resonating string effect thing going on that's really cool. And yeah, you'll just see just playing different ways and on different strings, and even switching between different pickups, and just everything. You can change the sound in so many different ways, just by your playing or by the controls on your guitar. And so no out of tune, but so here's the unwound strings, and then the wound strings. I told you it gets pretty insane. first. Um, so a more talented guitarist could really, I think, do something special with this, because it's, like I said, it's your dynamics, your playing dynamics and your note selection really can create different effects just by the way you play. All right, let's listen to it on bass. Hold on, almost there. So ridiculous. Did this the hard way. You should have just... whatever. Alright, so, on bass, it actually sounds pretty awesome, even though, as you can hear when I was playing on guitar, there's an emphasis towards higher frequencies and stuff. But because of the control set on here, you can kind of adjust it for a bass. somebody talented in the world of slap bass could probably do some pretty cool things with it, if you're into that thing. It's interesting because on bass it seems to have even more of that kind of a acoustic, reverberant type thing going on. Which I guess is just because of the fatter strings and... Anyway, so yeah, I love this pedal. It's just, it's kind of thing that would inspire me to write something that's written around this sound and this vibe coming from the Gemini. There's still some design work to go with it. There's a variety of controls that I could add to it, and I'm just trying to decide, what suits it best. And also, like I said, there's the Xtal, which it's spelled with an X instead of is this basic circuit, but with a bunch of other controls that make it even crazier. But I don't know if I'm going to put out each pedal individually or just fuse them together as one pedal with a bunch of cool controls. You can get some, depending on how I was messing around with it on the breadboard recently before I built this, as you probably saw in one of my other demos recently. But there's a way to get this to kind of pull some of that clanginess away, but leave enough of it so that when you play it through, it sounds very much like almost like an acoustic guitar, because you get the clear sounding, clean, sort of like a clean blend of the fundamental regular guitar, plus these clangy harmonics, but that they're in the background enough to not just sound like this noisy clattering sound, but like I said, gives it this acoustic buzz to it that's really cool. But whatever, that'll come along with all those other designs of mine. But yeah, anyway, thanks y'all.